Well, all right, and welcome back to another exciting episode of PlanetGenX Reacts to Star Trek Strange New Worlds, episode 10, 10, 10. And it's called Hegemony.
That's what I was going to say. I did not get the episode or the title this episode.
Yeah, it's called Hegemony. That's my guy, Brian, right over there. I'm getting this pointing thing better.
What's up, everybody?
Yeah.
That is my guy, Sean, over there.
How are you today, friend?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Doing fantastic. This was a very interesting episode, but right off the bat, we got to clear something up because you weren't aware of this, and I know you weren't, and I made you not say anything more about it. You asked me how many episodes there were. You said, surely we'll get a continuation, and I thought the same thing, too, because we got it to be continued. But what we got was a season cliffhanger.
Right.
A la the old days where we are used to that with the old Star Trek The Next Generation and Voyager, Deep Space Nine. They all did that stuff.
Right.
So, boom, 10 episodes.
I think we've been a little bit ruined on like the season finale where they do like a 2-part or a 3-part or whatever.
Yeah. Oh, and I'm glad they're doing this. Glad in one way, sad in another, because between the writers strike and the actors striking and stuff, it's going to be a hot minute before we see any new content. So, yeah, there is that. But it has a very Star Trek feel that we grew up with, where you're just going to have to wait until next season to see what happens.
Right.
It's the same as Mr. Wolf, fire, or whoever, somebody fire. One of those episodes. But yeah, 10 episodes. This is it. This is the season finale. Hegemony, I guess that's how you say it.
Depends on your accent, but I will accept hegemony.
Okay. Hegonomy? Is that what it's supposed to be?
I think some people actually,
Hegemony.
it's like the moni is shortened. It's like hegemony.
Hegemony.
Okay,
I'm down. Hegemony. Let's do it that
hegemony
way.
Is no.
I probably said it the British way. I tend to do that. And not even
we
hearing the word.
And that's how we talk.
Yeah. So, like I had I didn't tease it. I had suggested that we were going to see the Gorn. And lo and behold, here we are. The Gorn is the antagonist yet again. Interestingly, though, I said it was because of that biobed that tipped us off, right? The biobed number 2 that kept messing up since the Gorn incident. But there wasn't anything with the biobed, man. Like, why did they focus on that other than to let us believe that we're going to have something to see? It's just such a random thing.
Did you get distracted?
I must have. Yes, it's highly possible. I have kittens and everything running around.
That's where she wound up, was in the biobed.
Who's that?
Patel.
Well, shut my mouth. Yeah. Okay, I take it all back. I'm glad they.
And I mean, I knew that was where it was going to end up, and I mean, you didn't really miss anything. It's just her there. They don't really focus on the fact that it is that biobed, but she's in a biobed. They do a close up on her arm, obviously, and it looks like it is that biobed. You get a little bit of frame.
Well, okay, that's not what I guess I was hoping for something a little more like there was a computer virus,
like a glitch. Yeah,
something like that, some way to tie it in. But
we'll see it in season 3, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too late to fix it. Fix it. Do it.
Yeah.
Do it now. But one thing I got to get off my chest right away is something I don't agree with. They're doing some internal transport, and old Pike says, is the internal transporter still set? I'm like, nope.
Too early for that shit.
Yeah, way too early for that shit, man. We got manuals to prove it, and I'm sorry. I'll forgive a lot of stuff, but you can't have a device or a plot device that you borrowed from the Next Generation, Voyager, and Deep Space Nine, anything that came after the 23rd century. Just can't do it, man. And I've already forgiven some stuff, but I will not forgive that. They're not little transport emitters littered all over the ship of the
Right.
Enterprise.
Yeah.
And they would have to be for it to do that, especially back then.
I'm probably jumping a little ahead here, but I thought it was cool to have another little unexpected surprise / cameo in this one.
What, with Scotty?
Scotty.
Scotty Too Hottie? Yeah, and they
Yes.
got an actual Scott to play him this time. Finally, we
Right.
get a Scott to play him, and his name's Martin Quinn, for those that don't know. And I didn't, so I'm not going to pretend I'm not one of them. Do you know this guy?
I just saw it. I don't know the guy, but I saw it in some of the material that I was reviewing.
He did a fine Scotty, I think.
I think he did too.
Yeah, so it's nice. I'm glad he's representing.
Yeah.
They finally got a real Scottish Scotty in there. It was great. I thought it was an unexpected little cameo.
Same.
That obviously he'll be important in the season finale or whatever it is.
And he's also tied to Pelia, obviously.
Yeah.
Cool. So
we're
maybe
finding
we'll see
out
a
she's
little
been
bit.
teaching a lot of people, huh?
Right.
She got her whole damn class on board.
And I was trying to think of something. I don't know if this is just word association that's been going on with me. Was there a USS Pelia?
I don't know. I have not heard it from the old days.
Not in the old days. I'm wanting to say it might have been like DS9 or TNG.
Oh, well, I call that old days.
Okay.
That's what I meant. Like, yeah.
I think of that like in the future in canon, right?
Yeah. Yeah, old production days. I don't think so. New stuff I'm not as up on, so I wouldn't know. I try when they have all those ships on to see if I can spot any, but names I'll forget. Like that one we had last week, I've already forgotten its name. It was like the Del Sol or something like, I don't know what it was. I know I'm way off.
Yeah.
But at least now I think we know why you're looking that up. Why the shuttle has the yoke on it. Right. We see her finally get to using that thing to its fullest, which I agree with. I like it. I like the shuttle having that little device. It does make it a little more adventurous. Makes the shuttle more exciting. Otherwise, the shuttle's kind of just kind of generic and boring looking when you're just hitting a button. Go.
I don't know. In my opinion, that's what the shuttle should be, right? It should just be bland and plain and nothing, and just like a control unit, maybe some beds on the side.
I don't know. I really
got. You need in a shuttle.
Yeah, I got spoiled with the Delta Flyer, man. I was really down with the Delta Flyer, and it did. I mean, like it gave when they got that thing, and I'm referring to for you youngsters who don't know, Voyager. In Voyager, they had built their own shuttle because they had to be very resourceful, and Tom Paris, who was just a hot flyboy, that wanted speed or whatever, maneuverability. They already had some pretty good Delta shuttles that were pretty maneuverable, but not to his taste. So they ended up building it, and it was pretty damn cool. It got destroyed, and they built it again, so it had two different versions. And he insisted that it had some old cockpit controls in it, which I think shows that it can help, as far as giving a sense of action to something.
I can understand that. And also, like, obviously, I think for you, it's a little bit different. And for people who maybe like you and playing like plane sims,
flight simulators,
like
they're guilty. Of course, there is that funny joke between flight sim guys, because you got the guys that love Airbus and you got the guys that love Boeing, and the guys that love the guys that love Boeing tease the Airbus guys because they trade their yokes in for tray tables because they got the little side stick deal instead of a yoke in front of them. So, I'm way off the point of what we're doing here, but anyway,
that's what we're here for, man.
Yeah.
This is your ADHD review of Star Trek.
Yeah, the ADHD review of Star Trek: Strange New Worlds, Episode 10. Let me ask you, why do they think they need to make us think Nurse Chapel's dead? We know better.
You and I know better. They're doing
That's
that
what
for,
I knew you would say
newcomers.
too. Yeah, newcomers. I knew you'd say that. Yeah. I guess that's fair.
And I think also just like
You got to have the
I,
drama.
right. That's like I don't really see anything so far as the storytelling aspect of this season that I'm not expecting. Right. So far as the way it rolls out, the way it's presented, acts, stuff like that. All of it kind of seems to be kind of your standard fare of how a writer's room or something like that builds a story.
Yeah.
And this is no different. The surprises are the Easter eggs, the cameos, stuff like that.
Yeah. Ton of Easter eggs throughout this whole season.
Yeah.
Um, well, that's pretty much my main notes. Covered
Yeah.
everything there.
Well, let's see. We one thing we don't know is we don't know how Chapel is going to respond to this, right? We we kind of thought, okay, she'll be gone after this episode, right? Off to do her studies or whatever. We don't know that though. We don't know like exactly how. Do you know the date that she started doing that? Right? I don't.
No idea. And I
So
don't know
yeah,
that anybody knows.
this could be like a surprise protracted period where we get more Chapel.
Yeah, because you don't. I mean, they could do anything. Because I mean, there's probably very little back then that was suggested about her character. Because she was just a side character. Basically, she was a nurse, and Dr. McCoy's the main guy. So just the stuff she had with Spock is the reason we have all what we have right now.
I would say in TOS she was a side character, but an important side character,
Yeah,
right?
she started out that way. She didn't always I would say in the first season for sure, and then she kind of trailed off there towards the
Yeah.
end. But of course, they had many different changes. Chekhov comes in the second season, so different stuff. Overall, I thought the story was adequate. I mean, it's nothing fancy.
I don't know, man. I just have this whole issue with the way that the Gorn is presented right now as like a feral space race.
I agree.
Like,
I agree wholeheartedly.
yeah, and like here's our demarcation line from lizard people, right?
Yeah, and yeah, it's like, but then when they can communicate, obviously, but then we never see that. It's just what Starfleet
Right.
tells us is happening. Every time
Yeah.
we see them, they're just growling and hissing and tearing people apart. You know, and it's a huge leap from the old TOS guy in a suit deal.
Right.
I think I would prefer the Enterprise version of it.
Yeah.
Enterprise had the Gorn in that episode in the fourth season, and I think it would have stood up way
I
better.
I kind of remember it, and yeah, you're right. I mean, that was mainly like latex and makeup.
Well, no, this was CG
Okay.
in the
Was it?
Enterprise. Yeah,
Oh,
and it was the green Gorn deal we knew, but way more. Just normal. I mean, made to look real as if it would
not like
exist. Yeah, not like
a
a rubber
floppy
mask and
thing on the
shit.
top of the
Exactly. With
head.
golf balls glued, silver painted
Right.
golf balls glued to its eyes, or ping pong balls glued to its eyes. Um, yeah, it was pretty good, but I'm not digging this look at all. Like, I'm really
Yeah.
happy with how they done the Klingons based on how they started out with Discovery's Klingons looking. I hate the way they started with Discovery, right? Awful.
Yeah.
And here we are in the same time period, but now all of a sudden they're normal looking, which is great. I love it. It's like it's the opposite. It's like they went back with the Gorn. They're just bad with it.
Yeah.
It's not good.
I don't know that I necessarily dislike, the visage of the Gorn necessarily, but like a lot of psychic dissonance with me, suspending disbelief.
Yeah. No, I get it, man. I don't know if it was the choice for. I guess they wanted something vicious. To me, it's just been better to. I don't know, make them Nausicaans or something.
Right. Well, I mean, I don't know that I mentioned this in the last episode where we saw the Gorn, but for me personally, um, they were trying really heavy to summon up some alien vibes, and maybe trying a little bit too hard or not hard enough. I don't know what it was, but it didn't land for me.
Yeah. Or even a little bit of V. Just
Yeah.
alien invasion vibe going on in this episode, and we're gonna use your bodies and whatever to hatch our babies and shit or eat them. Yeah,
Well, I just meant so far as like the cinematography. You know,
yeah,
when Spock had that encounter, there were definitely some like uh, for me, it was more Alien Resurrection than anything that I got out of the vibes on it,
right.
and that was not necessarily one of the
Talking
best.
about kind of like the
Aliens.
tail drop you see in Alien. So yeah,
Mhm.
I know exactly what you're talking about, man. I got that
Yeah,
vibe too. Um, but yeah, the episode it wasn't terrible. We've definitely seen worse this season. The first, for second, third episode, by far the
yeah.
worst.
I'm hard pressed to give. I think I'll have to go back and watch them all, but I'm hard pressed to give anything in this season like a full 5 stars,
Yeah,
personally.
yeah. I gave last episode a 5 star because I just sheer entertainment value. It thoroughly entertained me.
Yeah.
And I didn't because it was a fun episode. I didn't find anything. Like I couldn't say anything about the internal transporter or something like that. It would have been a
Right.
4.75 if that was the case. You know. So they got lucky with that one. This one's not going to fare near as well.
Mhm.
I am pleased with a lot of things in it, but yeah, I'd probably say like a 3.75, 3.50,
Yeah, I think I'd be about the
three and a
same.
half. Yeah,
Definitely better than the slow episodes, but still not all there.
yeah, it's a little above average.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to seeing how they wrap it up. I do, like I said, that's the golden moment out of it was getting that to be continued. We hadn't seen that in so long.
Right.
Um, what can you say? I want to see more Scotty. I'm ready for them to wrap
Well,
up this deal with Chapel and Spock.
right.
At least not necessarily wrap it up, but just put it as something we know is happening now, and it's just a side story, right? It doesn't have to be like a
Yeah.
main deal all the time.
Right. Well, I mean, to be honest, I don't know. This is one of those things where they could potentially drop in a like PTSD type beeline story there that makes her kind of like pull away, even though I know she's seen battle, she's experienced and everything, but they can explain. You can write stories concerning characters and their responses to other characters and their situations and everything. So do whatever you need to. But yeah, I they could do that easily, in my opinion. Just say, okay, well, she's just like hands off on everything but her job.
Yeah, right on.
That's all I got, man. Let me see if I got. I'm gonna scroll through some of these other notes.
Well, nonetheless, we'll have to wait a while before we do find out what happens. That's for sure.
Right?
I mean, it seems like any time anymore, these seasons come way too far apart. And then you're going
Right.
to throw in the strikes in the mix. Oh, brother, you might as well hang it up. It'll probably be like a year and a half. And that's no
Yeah.
joke, dude. That would be normal. So let's say 2 years probably.
Well, we'll talk about it more in the podcast coming up, but there is something that we've been waiting for, I think, 3 years for season 2 on, but it's not Star Trek Strange New World, so we will do it in a different episode.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, that wraps up the Strange New World reaction series for now. But you can look out for our Ahsoka series when it starts up here soon. August 23rd, it comes out. So be checking those out. We'll have reactions to that. And I didn't say it at the beginning of the show, but we got to get it in there, man. Please hit the subscribe button and the like button. If you made it this far, then you definitely like us. That's for sure. So
Right.
please be a subscriber. Not I think even some of the biggest podcasters out there, they'll have like 70% of their people just not subscribe, but view their stuff all the time, but just don't
Right.
subscribe. So it
Well,
really
the
helps.
subscribe for you guys out there, yes, it does help us. It helps us to grow and get more exposure, and
Absolutely.
yeah, subscribes and likes are great, and we love to talk to you guys. So write in the comments and let us know what you thought about this season, this episode, Strange New Worlds overall as it exists so far.
Amen. I couldn't have said it better myself. So as always, guys, we thank you for being here, and Be excellent to each other, and we'll see you on the flip side.
Thanks so much.
Peace out.